Hi, welcome to another edition of the Alan Rosenberg Show. I'm going to do a new series. This is going to be episode one of the greatest album runs of all time. Exactly what it describes. These are albums that came one after the other, and in the cases I'm going to describe, in my opinion, they're all classics. Now, there are bands that have released two, three great albums in a row. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a band that released, in my opinion, classic albums in a row. I don't think any band has had a better run than this band that I'm wearing right there. There's Pete Townsend and The Who, and I think the album run that I'm going to be describing right now just may be the greatest album run in history. So let's start with The Who. 5 classic albums, in my opinion, in a row. Now, I already did a Who video where I rank their albums and I go in depth of all of their albums, so please check that out if you like this. Of course, their first album was My Generation, really good debut, half original, half covers. Their second album was a quick one that came out in '66. Fine record as well, a couple of great songs, some not so great, but both really good records. I actually love the debut. The My Generation album. Um, Here it is up there, gigantic super deluxe edition of that. So I'm a really big fan. But when it comes to their third album, I think their third album was a classic. 1967, the album The Who Sell Out. I have so many different versions of every Who album, including on vinyl, but I'm going to just show the CDs. So here's a deluxe edition of the CD with some bonus tracks. Then they came out with a super deluxe edition with a whole second CD, and of course now there's a mega box set of this one as well. I love the Who Sell Out. It came out in 1967. It's got that kind of 60s British art pop sound to it. It's got a slew of great songs on it. Mary Ann with the Shaky Hands and Tattoo, Our Love Was Is. The Townsend all-time classic he thinks is one of the best things I ever did. I Can See for Miles is a great song. I love I Can't Reach You. I just love everything on this album. What makes it super special and unique is what it is. It's what's supposed to be a duplication. You feel like you're listening to pirate radio. And in between a lot of the songs, they have jingles, commercials that are actually Who songs that they created as jingles. And they're phenomenal. So you can see on the cover, there's Odorono, which is deodorant, Heinz Baked Beans, Medak, acne cream, and, working out, Charles Atlas kind of a thing. It's such a fun record. I just love the Who Sell Out. Their first classic, to me, 1967. What a great album. 2 years later, they come back, and the thing that we're going to be describing with these Who albums is the growth. It's amazing to think it's the same band, even though it still sounds like the Who. 2 years later, 1969, they come back with Tommy. Here's the original CD version and a deluxe edition with some demos. And if that's not enough, here's the mega gigantic box with posters and booklets and demos and all kinds of cool stuff. And 5.1 mixes as well. It's hard to believe that Tommy is the same band that did the Who Sell Out. The growth is exponential. Hard to believe that it's a 4-piece band, but there's only 3 musicians in the band that play. The sound on Tommy is lush, symphonic, produced beautifully. It's a magnificent album. And of course, the only problem with Tommy these days, to me, is that it's overplayed. The Who continue to play it forever. A million times they've played it live. So it's not the kind of album that I listen to very often. But when I still listen to it, I'm like, I can't believe what a masterpiece this is. And it is truly a rock opera. There are people, and I love the Kinks. You could watch my Kinks video. They'll say, well, Arthur was an opera, and the Sorrow album from the Pretty Things, which I have, was an opera. Not like this. This is truly More than just a concept album, this is a rock opera story. Um, it's just an amazing piece of work. No doubt a five-star classic, The Who Tommy. 2 years after The Who sell out, their second classic in a row. Their next one is this one, Live at Leeds. Now, some people are going to say, well, you're cheating because this is a live album. And I already did a video of what I think is the greatest live album of all time, Frampton Comes Alive, and there was people who said, what are you, crazy? Live at Leeds is the best. Live at Leeds is an incredible, incredible live album. It'd be my number 2 or number 3. You can watch Frampton Comes Alive, and I'll tell you why that is the greatest. But Live at Leeds is another masterpiece from The Who. Forget that it's just a live album, because it's not. Compare this to The Who Sell Out and Tommy, which came before. This is a completely different sounding band. Who is this band? It's borderline hard rock, the birth of heavy metal. This is an amazingly driving hard rock band that is just, untouchable live. And that's why Live at Leeds is way more than just an incredible live album. It really, in my opinion, counts as another album by The Who, because it doesn't sound like anything else in their catalog, certainly at that time. There's tons of versions of it. I have it on vinyl where it's only 6 songs. Then they put out this deluxe edition where you have those 6 songs plus a bunch of bonus tracks. I love this version the best. Heaven and Hell is a really cool opener, John Entwistle track. And you get Tattoo, which I love. I'm a Boy, which is great. A Quick One While He's Away is great. And you get some Tommy stuff on here. But this is just an amazing record. This one has a second disc where they perform Tommy its entirety. There's so many versions of that. But this is an extraordinarily great version of Tommy. This is not just an essential live album. This is an essential Who album, because it's just them at a different level. Doesn't sound like Tommy. Doesn't sound like Sell Out. That's their third classic in a row. After that, they work on another studio record, and it's going to be this huge project called Lifehouse. I actually show the Lifehouse CD that I have in my other video. They're working on Lifehouse. They can't get it together. The band disagrees on it. Townsend's going to have like a nervous breakdown. They record in different studios, and eventually they re-record some of these tracks, and they put out just the tracks as Who's Next, 1971. There's a CD version of Who's Next. Here is a deluxe edition, and they will be coming out with a super deluxe. This is really good because it's got another live concert from the Young Vic in 71. This album basically cast off tracks that were going to be on Lifehouse, put together really what I say pound for pound, the strongest Who album by songs. This album is just classic after classic. Baba O'Reilly, Bargain, Love Ain't for Keeping, My Wife, Song Is Over, Getting in Tune, Going Mobile, and Behind Blue Eyes, and of course it finishes up with Won't Get Fooled Again. It's just classic after classic. Another Who album that I very rarely listen to, not because it's not incredible, because it's just so damn played out. But that doesn't take away from the fact that this is just the most incredible album. 1971, The Who. Who's Next? 1, 2, 3. This is their 4th classic album in a row. Unbelievable. Which leads us now to their 5th classic album in a row. The album that is dearest in my heart as far as Who albums go. And that's their 1973 opus, Quadrophenia. So here is a CD version, and then you got a deluxe edition with demos, and then they released the super duper 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 box with demos and 5.1 audio tracks, and then I got another amazingly cool box downstairs that looks like a scooter light, and that's got the 5.1 on Blu-ray and the live version of Quadrophenia from a couple of years ago. Quadrophenia, my all-time favorite Who album. I discovered it. It came out in '73. I got it in '76. It was like the second or third Who album I ever had, and this album is just so deep. Kind of like Tommy, meant to be listened from beginning to end. You don't want to really pull out the individual tracks. Tells a great story that I think most of us could relate to. You know, somebody who's feeling lost in life, kind of an outcast, trying to fit in with the gang. And to them, they're just having a laugh. But to Jimmy, it's not just a laugh. I'm serious. This is like my life. And they're like, no, Jimmy, it's just a laugh. We're going to outgrow this. And how does he handle it? And, it's just a great story. The movie's great. The soundtrack for the movie is good too. It's completely different. But, from an individual track standpoint, I love everything on this album, whether it's the Punk and the Godfather and Townsend Acoustic on one, and the Dirty Jobs and 515, and Side 4, which was Bellboy and Dr. Jimmy, and The Rock, and Love Rain on Me. Unbelievable. And the lush sound and the horns by Entwistle and the continual theme of the ocean in the background. Just a haunting, powerful listen. So there is possibly, I think, the greatest album run in the history of rock. We got the Who Sell Out from '67, Tommy '69, Live at Leeds '70, Who's Next '71, Quadrophenia in '73. And their first two albums before that were not too shabby either. After that, '75, they released Who by Numbers, which is a really good record. And then after that, it kind of goes down just to become an average. But Townsend as a writer and The Who as a band, just off the charts. What a role. And I hope you agree. And if you have never heard these albums, all of them, 5-star classics. 5 in a row. Essential rock and roll listening. So anyway, thanks for listening. Please hit subscribe if you like this video. Check out my other Who video. It's kind of expanded. It's like 35 minutes, but I literally rank the albums and I go in depth of all of the Who albums. I think you'll enjoy it, especially if you like the Who. And check out my other videos, and please hit subscribe and tell your friends. And most importantly, stay safe, and thanks for watching. Take care.